which brings us to mental conceptions of the world, embracing knowledges, not embracing knowledges and cultural understandings and beliefs. And I think before reading it, I'd always sort of, I don't know why I never looked into it, but I always questioned whether sort of capitalism came from liberalism, like philosophy in the Enlightenment. Was it like, well, this like was the logic of being a free individual is what led to capitalism, or was it the other way around? And it turns out John Locke, at the time, wrote what was it? His theory of property, and it went sort of along the lines of like, look at this new sudden freedom we've all got. Look what it's allowing us to do. So he's witnessing everything that we're describing here, and he goes, "Isn't this marvelous? Isn't this the best game ever? We should all be free to do this." And starts, kickstarts the liberal philosophy in the Enlightenment. My witness in this, so like liberalism as a philosophy is born of this moment of seeing like old religious feudal monarchical state interventions always trying to stop this person from doing this wonderful thing, but all Locke was looking at was this sudden flourishing, like this person just did this with the land, whereas for the last 2 bloody centuries it was only growing 3 fucking carrots a day or a year or whatever. All of a sudden it was like there's fucking millions of carrots, and that's exciting, and we should be free to do that. So I mean, yes, absolutely, liberal freedoms, the way many of them conceived today, are essential. We've gone over that. Today I'm sporting this burgundy sweat t-shirt, and you've got that wonderful jumper on, and we don't want Mao's blue uniform or anything, but like, come on. Come on. we is it mutually exclusive? Like, do we need this interpretation of liberalism to remain sort of free individuals from like those degrees of oppression? Can we not escape this logic of capitalism while still maintaining these individual freedoms? Like it seems like it's one particular, the freedom to fuck people over. Oh yeah. So like if all he's focusing on is this like magic flourishing, he's going to, and particularly because I don't know where he stood, but I assume it was high up in terms of being on the level of the landlords. He was going to disregard, and this still isn't bourgeois because that's apparently still quite an urban continental class of people.
Okay.
But his clear disregard for all the other tenants who weren't as exciting as this particular tenant, the capitalist tenant, just disregarded. And the theory of property was that if you, there's 2 phases here that are significant. If you could transform the land, then you had a right to transform the land, and you are not a right to claim the land, because the theory went, well, if there's 20 people making 3 carats a year each, well, and this one person can make 1 million carats, then he's increasing the stock for everyone else single-handedly. So that's a better use of land, and therefore that person should get the say. Scrub the democracy. That efficiency deserves.
Okay, so it's still very much pinpointed at, or like missile focused towards growth and I guess, well, probably progression, but under the guise of growth, I suppose, or growth under the guise of progression.
So are you referring to like the sort of the focus now on GDP growth?
Yeah, well, so what this kind of fascination that you're articulating around Locke and saying, this idea of suddenly, hey, the freedom here, the freedom to absolutely expand the land with this incredible new go-getter attitude that's sort of been encouraged. And look, this guy will make 1 million carats over the 3 that we had for, whatever. But in doing so, if the idea is that it's, sorry, got the window open. Sorry, I'll close that.
That's all right.
But if this kind of, I guess, the way that freedom is being articulated here, like this idea that, we should all be free to like really embrace this weird, incredible progression that's occurring, this radical explosion of innovativeness, use of land, growth. But it all still feels, really, I guess, that's where I feel like the word freedom there is so loaded, because
It's very particular.
Yeah.
What happens to the
Obviously.
freedom of all the other people? And this is the second wing of that thing then. So that first that wing, I don't know, first dimension of the point, importantly, just as an aside, because it's not necessarily what we're going to get into here, but it fully, like John Locke was used to sort of legitimize with that point, colonialism. Like if in the Americas, like if the Indians aren't doing this thing with this land, but we are, then we absolutely have the right to own or claim this land outright. But the second dimension that I was getting at was, and still in the same breath, the direct producer of the land isn't who Locke was talking about when he said that person, if that person can, then that can enact that frequency, if that person can touch that land and make this wonderful thing happen, they get the right to it. He was talking about the landlord who, fuck off, wasn't touching the land. The landlord was coordinating the laborers, if even, to do this, and therefore the landlord got the extra say. So of course the actual producers who were actually doing the actual production were never going to feature in his concept of freedom. So we need to be free to do this meant that us good old boys and our new Paddy Spudhead capitalist should be free morally, technically, legally, to continue this wonderful game. It's so much fun. And everyone that gets displaced by this new freedom can go fuck themselves. So that is, I mean, where is their freedom? Essentially, and this is fucking socialism here. It's like, well, your liberty from your liberalism is fully smashing all over everyone else who you exclude, who you've decided through your philosophy to exclude from that philosophy. In terms of growth, though, it's a different fetish. I think we might get to it, but in case we don't, it's the logic of capitalism. The investment you make today, you only get profit if there's expansion the next day. So that's why the focus of growth is there. So this growth is just exciting. This is just like, it's not like macro growth. And I know that's not necessarily what you were saying, but I think that is a bit of a difference. It's like Locke's just looking at this exciting dynamic without analyzing it to the point that would result in the fetish over GDP growth, which is where all us capitalists have invested all our cash in the system, and we're not going to make anything. It was going to be a huge waste of time if we don't see growth in the next year.
Okay.
So that is the organizational form of production and consumption. The the social relations of people, and that the John Locke thing there totally touches back on that, of course. The
Mm-hmm.